everybody, welcome back to the Escentual. Erin here to make another cold process soap. This will be number 2 of 5, I believe, if I'm thinking of everything. But today we are making another cold process soap, and today I will be making, or remaking rather, the same black and blue swirled soap that I made just a couple of months ago. So, and for the last video, that was also a remake of a custom cold process soap, and I took everyone's feedback into consideration, and overall the main consensus I can't talk today or any day. The main consensus was that you all preferred the full-length videos over the sped-up videos. So this will be a normal length video. So I hope that makes everyone happy. So let's get into what's going into this soap. For this soap, I will be using this fragrance oil. This is Fresh Snow from Brambleberry. I have a big bottle this time because I have a feeling she said that this one was by far her customer's favorite. So I bought a big bottle so that I don't have to reorder this again and again and again. Now this fragrance, if you all can remember from the last time that I made this soap, it has a very laundry detergent, fabric softener sort of smell. It's really nice. When it was described that way on the website, I was kind of like, I don't really know how I would feel about that. But I ended up getting a sample of it in a fragrance sampler kit from them, and it was amazing. It's one of my favorites also. So it's very nice, very clean, ozone-y. It almost comes across with maybe some fruity undertones, but I don't actually think there's any fruit fragrance in it. But it is very nice. I very much enjoy that fragrance oil. In the 2 colors that I'm going to be doing, I'm going to be using this Klein Blue mica powder. This is one of my favorite blue micas out there. I'm going to try really hard not to spill any mica today. There we go, lightens a little bit better. Maybe you can see, but very blue. It's shimmery, but when you put it in soap, the shimmer doesn't really come through that much, which it doesn't bother me, but this is a very nice blue. And for the black portion, I will be using activated charcoal. So a relatively simple design. I'm going to try to replicate the soap from last time as much as possible. So we'll see how that goes. And let me get my stick blender into my oils. Everything is nice and cool, room temperature. The lye's ready to go. So yeah, that is it. So let's jump right into the making of this soap. Alright, so that is good and blended. We're at a very nice thin trace emulsification, so I think this is going to work really nice. It's going to let me blend my colors with my stick blender so that I don't end up with any incorporated mica. I generally tend not to disperse my micas in oils beforehand because I find if you mix it well enough, there's really no difference. It just, when you pre-disperse your mica into oil, for example, It's just a little bit easier. It takes a little bit less time, but honestly, I don't see much use in it myself. I don't mind doing just a couple of seconds worth of extra blending just to get my micas all incorporated. And of course, that's just a personal preference thing. If you prefer to pre-disperse your micas, that's totally fine. There's nothing wrong with that. All right, so you can see it's pretty thin, not really much of a trace at all. So what you guys didn't see just now is the camera just about fell over because I was trying to adjust it. So let's go ahead, and I don't have anything to get my mic out with. I'll be right back. All right, so I am going to do the big batch of the soap in blue and the smaller in black. I did this as an in the pot swirl last time, so that's what I'm going to do this time. So let's get some blue in here. And like I mentioned in my last video, I have tweaked this custom recipe just a little bit. It still has all the oils in it that she requested specifically for this recipe, but they're in a little bit of different proportions to try to make the batter easier to work with, and because one of the oils that she requested is hemp oil. Now, if you're not familiar with hemp oil is not CBD oil. They are different. But hemp oil is very dark green. And so when you're trying to make blues and things like that, they come across just weird, not very pretty shades. So I wanted to try to lighten the batter up a little bit. And I'm doing the wrong thing. I should have started with blue, but I'm already in the black, so I'm just going to go for it. Now that I've got all of my colors dispersed, I say all of them, look, there's just so many. There's only 2. But if you remember, the last time that I made this soap, the blue was very, very dark and had a little bit of a tint from it from the hemp oil that is in this custom soap recipe. So now that I have used oils in different proportions to each other, you get a much nicer blue color. So that is perfect. Just giving everything a good swirl here, kind of get any micas off the sides and the bottom. Make sure everything is good and incorporated. So that's the blue, and of course the black is very black with that charcoal in it, if you all can see that. I'm sorry for the crazy shifting light again today. It's kind of unavoidable. I soap right in front of this window. I guess closing it would help, but then it gets much darker in here. But when it's cloudy and overcast like it is today, it's rainy and not very pleasant outside, it does really crazy things with my lighting on camera. So now is time to do our in the pot. So I am just going to pour here. I like to pour at 12, 3, 6, and 9, but there's not really any specific rule to this because it's all going to end up swirled together anyway. And also like to go in with my spatula and give it a tiny pre-mix. You don't want to do that too much because you'll muddy up your colors, which isn't a bad thing. It's just not the look that I'm going for in this soap. And, oh, I didn't close my blue mica. That would be about right, wouldn't it? To send blue mica flying all over the place. I already did it with orange, so why not with blue? All right. I think that's a good angle. So now I am just going to pour in all of this soap batter. Okay. And for the top this time, I'm going to add a little bit more black. I need to quit sticking this spatula down in there. I'm getting it. Alright, I'm going to add just a tiny bit more black to the top to swirl with. Not a whole lot or anything, just a little for some contrast, some definition. And now I'm going to take a pipette. This is a disposable pipette from Brambleberry. I used this on the other soap as well, but I washed it. You can see there's a little bit of moisture in there. Maybe you can't. Camera doesn't want to cooperate. But I'm just going to swirl this top. Just like that. And maybe give it one more swirl. All right. So there's that. And now I'm going to clean up my edges. Actually, I'm going to get this little bit off the table. I don't believe that this fragrance is known for slowing down trace, which means it actually thins your batter a little. But it certainly does with my particular recipe, and sometimes fragrance oils just do that. Just because a fragrance oil says that it's going to accelerate or rice or, you know, slow down trace or behave well or what have you, doesn't necessarily guarantee that that's how it's going to work in your recipe. Everybody's recipes are a little bit different. There's differences in your environments. Some places are more humid, some are more dry, some are warmer, some are cooler, and that all has different effects on your recipe, and it can cause fragrance oils to behave a little bit differently. That's why it's always recommended that you test out fragrances before you use them in a big batch. I don't necessarily always do that because I don't always necessarily mind when a recipe speeds up or accelerates. It really just depends on the circumstances, but it doesn't always bother me to have a surprise reaction. I'm just filling up my little owl mold here with the extra. I don't want to overfill the mold. And of course, I had to make a mess everywhere. I feel like it wouldn't be an Escentual Owl video without some kind of mess somewhere. Oh. Like, see, I didn't even get that into the dang mold at all. Now I need to clean this little thing. Hopefully without spilling it or dropping it. Don't really have to clean up this top here because you can just scrape that off when you pull the owl out. Get these gloves off. Maybe. They're kind of slick. Okay, now let's bring you all in for a close-up. I apologize that this soap is kind of hard to see because it is so dark and because the lighting in here is so awful, but hopefully you can see that a little bit better that way. Let me try closing these blinds and see if that helps. I kind of doubt that it will. Yeah, that made it worse, didn't it? Let's open these back up. All right. So that is it. That's all that I have for you all in this video. Again, I apologize that you can't really see this soap that well, but that is it. That's all that I have for you all today as far as this portion of the soap. If you enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up, subscribe. If you are subscribed, hit that bell notification icon because that's essentially the new subscribe button. And leave me a comment down below. Tell me what you thought of this. Tell me about your day. Tell me how it's going. And also, for anyone out there, especially if I have any fellow Kentuckians, happy Derby Day. Who are you betting on to win the Derby? I would love to know. I love the Derby. So, again, that's all that I have for you all. I will see you all for the cut. Bye-bye. Everybody, welcome back to the Essential Owl. I'm now going to cut the custom order cold process soap that we made, number 2 of 6, I believe. So, before I get started, oh, my camera just moved. Sorry about that. Yeah, all right. So I'm going to tighten up my wire here before I get started, just to make sure we get nice, even cuts. All right, and let me show you how this turned out. So here's what the top looks like. I love that swirl. I absolutely love it. It's my favorite way to swirl a top, at least here recently. It always turns out just super striking. And the blue did lighten up, so that's good because it gives a little bit more contrast. And then the edges, or the outside, you can see that it partially gelled, which is fine. You can see on the end that gel ring. Smudged just a little bit when I was taking it out, but that's fine. And let's get to cutting, shall we? Seems like a really skinny bar. Let me see if I need to readjust here, and I think that I do, because it looks like it's going to be way too skinny of a cut. But apparently, I am not a good judge of size because it's the same size as all the others. So, choppy choppy. Alright, so if you all remember, last time I made this soap, I got a bunch of scuff marks. And part of that is because, according to some soapy friends, the softer your soap is, the more likely it is to get those scuff marks. So this has been sitting for probably a good 6 to 7 hours. And just based off this first cut, it looks like I'm not getting any. So there's the back with that gel ring. And then here is the inside. And you are always going to get a little bit of this going on as far as the scuffs. Let me see if you all can see that. That's just going to happen with a wire cutter. There's no way to avoid it. It doesn't bother me. I don't plane or bevel my soaps at all. They come just like this. If you buy one, this is how they come. And it just, it's a handmade product, and you can't expect it to be completely perfect. I think it's charming, personally, but we got a pretty decent swirl there. It's in an interesting pattern, so let's keep going. Swirls tend to be more interesting in the middle of a soap. This is cutting really nice. So there's one side. I do kind of take away these little scraggly edges that you get from the wire cutter, but that's about it. Scrape that off. There we go. So there's one side and the other, and you can see the swirl is starting to change. That's interesting. And there's that beautiful top. I think I need to readjust my table because it seems like it has been shaking a lot more here recently. Seems like anything I do, I can breathe on this table too hard and it jiggles. So I apologize that it's moving the camera because I'm sure that it is. Choppy choppy. Alright, so there's one side. And then the other. Ooh, very nice. And that top, love it. What do you all think of this? Do you like it more than the last time I made this? Do you not like it as much? Let me know. I want to hear from you. So there's one side and then the other. Get off these little scraggly bits. Well, I just stuck them to the bottom of that bar. Let me get those off. Okay. And the top. Like I was saying, swirls tend to be more interesting towards the middle of a soap. Not really sure why. It's just how it seems to happen. At least for my soaps. So there's one side and the other. Ooh, I like that one. Yeah, that's really pretty. And then the top. This room smells amazing. This isn't the only soap that I made today. I'm sure you all can probably see the full soap mold in the background. That video will be up next week. There's one side and the other. And the top. So there's one side. And then the other. I'm glad that I'm not getting scuff marks. And I say not getting them. I know that there are some tiny little scuffs. Like I said, that's unavoidable. That's just going to happen. You can plane them away. Some people will rub them away or wet the soap just a little bit and sort of smooth it out with a gloved hand. And that seems to work for some people. They don't bother me, but I'm glad that there's not scuff marks like the last time that I made this soap, now that I know a little bit more. Because you can see the swirls a lot better this way. There's one side and the other. And then the top. So there's one side. I really like the swirl in this one. And the other. Oh, okay. That just peeled right off. That was very helpful. On the top. And this is the last cut. Oops, I nicked it a little bit with my fingernail. There we go. So there's one side and the other. And the top. And there is the final bar with that back side and the top. So that is all that I have for you all for this particular batch of soap. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, give me a thumbs up, subscribe. If you are subscribed, hit that bell icon because that's basically the new subscribe button. Leave me a comment down below. Tell me what you think. Tell me about your day. I love hearing from you guys, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye-bye.